Have you ever noticed something that's completely disappeared from football gaming? Back in the 90s and early 2000s, footballers didn't just appear on the cover of FIFA, they had their own games. From David Beckham to Michael Owen, Ronaldo and Eric Cantona, Ian Wright, and even managers had games. Sven-Göran Eriksson had a football game with his name on it. It felt every superstar had their own title sitting on the shelves at your local game shop. But today, nothing. No Messi, no Ronaldo, no Haaland, no Mbappe. Not even one of the biggest footballers on the planet has their own standalone game. So what happened? Why did footballers stop making their own video games? Let's go back to a time when celebrity football games were everywhere. The late 90s and early 2000s were a strange but brilliant time for football games. FIFA was growing rapidly. Pro Evolution Soccer was beginning to dominate the gameplay. Championship Manager was becoming dangerously addictive. Yet alongside those giants was another trend entirely. Publishers realised footballers themselves were brands. If a footballer could sell boots, sell drinks, sell aftershave, why couldn't they sell video games? And one of the best known examples was Michael Owen's WLS 2000. Released on PlayStation, it wasn't officially FIFA or Pro Evo, instead it carried the name of England's Golden Boy, fresh off winning the PFA Young Player Award and becoming one of the world's biggest stars. Then there was David Beckham's Soccer, released after Beckham became one of the most recognisable athletes on the planet. Even the Brazilians were cashing in. Ronaldo had Ronaldo V-Football. Eric Cantona had even retired, had Eric Cantona Football Challenge. Ian Wright had his own football title, and even managers got involved with Sven-Göran Eriksson's World Manager, putting players in charge both on and off the pitch. Looking back, it almost feels unbelievable. Imagine Jude Bellingham Football 2026 being announced today. People would think it was fake. The business logic actually made perfect sense. Football was booming, the Premier League was exploding in popularity, and television money was pouring in. Footballers were becoming global celebrities. Using one superstar as the face of an entire game was a relatively cheap marketing strategy compared to licensing dozens of clubs and leagues. A famous player instantly gave a game credibility. Kids didn't necessarily know who the developer was, but they knew who Beckham was, they knew Ronaldo, and they knew Michael Owen. Walk into a game shop and seeing your favourite footballer smiling from the cover could easily convince you to spend your pocket money. It was a celebrity marketing before influencers even existed. Now, here's the problem. Many of these games were simply, well, how should we put it, crap. Some were perfectly enjoyable, some had interesting ideas, but very few could compete with FIFA or PES. Often they were built on existing engines with a very different license slapped to the front. Sometimes they offered unique training modes or arcade gameplay. Other times they felt like budget versions of games people already owned, and players did notice. Why spend a full price on a footballer's game when FIFA already had dozens of leagues, real teams and a much deeper gameplay? The novelty slowly began to wear off. Then came the biggest reason of all, FIFA. It became enormous, and by the mid-2000s appearing in FIFA was worth far more than appearing in your own game. Players were desperate for the FIFA front cover. They wanted ultimate team cards, they wanted official face scans, global marketing campaigns, worldwide exposure, and instead of selling one footballer's game, EA were selling one of football games featuring every footballer. It was better for fans, better for publishers, and better for the players themselves. There simply wasn't room in the market anymore. And there's another reason people don't think about it, licensing. Modern football games are incredibly complicated. You need agreements with clubs, leagues, players' unions, stadium owners, sponsors, broadcast rights, image rights, even tattoos can involve a licensing discussion. Creating an official football game today often causes and costs lots of money and headaches. You've been Creating an official football game today costs an enormous amount of money before you've even written a single line of code. Trying to build an entire game around one player simply doesn't make financial sense anymore. Back then, having your own video game helped build your brand. Today, footballers don't need video games to stay relevant. They have Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Netflix documentaries, EAFC partnerships, brand sponsorships worth millions. The game itself has become the marketing platform. So instead of David Beckham launching his own soccer game, David Beckham appears in EAFC as an icon. Millions of players see him every single year without the cost of developers or developing a separate game. Could we ever see footballers launch their own game again? Well, never say never, but not a traditional football simulation. But imagine something different like, I don't know, Ronaldinho's freestyle game, a Haaland shooting challenge, Messi street football, or a Bellingham career story. Or perhaps an arcade-style football game built entirely around one superstar. In today's indie gaming world, anything's actually possible. Whether people would buy it, that's another question. But the era of footballers having their own video games was short. It was strange, sometimes brilliant, sometimes terrible, but it perfectly captured the gaming industry of the late 90s and early 2000s. Today, footballers haven't disappeared from gaming. They've simply become part of one giant football universe. So instead of starring in games of their own, they're now all over games like FIFA. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't miss walking into a game shop, discovering that another football superstar had somehow ended up with their own PlayStation game. So here's my question for you. Which footballer's game do you remember the most? And if you could bring back the idea today, which current player deserves their own video game and what would it be based around? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this trip back down football memory lane and the gaming history, don't forget to like, subscribe and check out the other retro video football videos on this channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.